Heyo.
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 Hey.
Hey. What is going on, everybody? This is the Fantasy Chairmen podcast, and I am Ben.
And I'm Alex.
And we're here to talk to you about fantasy football.
Like we always are.
Just doing another intro. I'm excited, Alex.
Yeah?
I'm real excited. We're getting into redraft season. We're in redraft. We're
in the midst of it.
We are in the thick of redraft season, is what I mean to say.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
And we've got a great episode for all your redraft leagues.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
This is a fun one.
This is one of my favorites, actually.
We did this for our leagues last year, and I really enjoyed this one. We've got a little bit of story time for y'all.
Ooh.
And then we'll tell you about some guys that we like, that we don't like, and that are being taken right where they need to be.
Not the people, but their ADP.
That fair enough.
See?
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's true.
Gotta make sure we say that.
That's right. Hey, if you're not following us on Twitter, you can do that by following @ChairmanFantasy and @FindFFLeagues. You can also follow the Fantasy Sasquatch if you want to. That is @Fantasy Squatch. And if you do check us out there on Twitter, you can go ahead and look at our pinned tweet on the @ChairmanFantasy profile, and that will tell you all about our Roundup City Racer raffle that we have going on right now. That is our charity that we are supporting for this month. And it's a youth sports league, a youth track and field organization that supports the Pendleton High School track and cross country organizations, as well as the Kyle Burnside Memorial Scholarship that is awarded to a senior that has done cross country and track and field for Pendleton High School. That's just a local team for us, Alex. Like we've said before, like we've tweeted out before, we're hoping to partner up with more youth sports leagues and nonprofit organizations just like this, and just be able to help them fundraise and grow and support the kids.
Heck yeah, get yourself a raffle ticket and donate to a good cause. Got some cool jerseys, cool autographed jerseys, by the way, that we're raffling off. A Todd Gurley Rams jersey and an Allen Robinson Bears jersey, both autographed. So
that's right.
And you get to have your choice of one or the other.
That's right. Yep. That's what I was just going to say. You get to jump in on that raffle. You get to pick which one of those jerseys you win if we happen to draw your name on September 27th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. But all of that money, 100% of that goes to the Roundup City Racers. And we just want to say thank you to everybody that has bought a raffle ticket so far. We really appreciate everything. I know all the kids on the team and the coaches involved there really, really appreciate it. And get on there. We've got a Twitter promo going on right now where you can earn some bonus tickets as long as you buy one ticket at least.
Oh, bonus tickets.
Bonus tickets. You can share the tweet and you get 10 more extra tickets. If you like the tweet, you get 5 extra tickets. And if you comment and tag some of your Bears or Rams fan friends that you know, you get 5 extra tickets for each person that you tag on there as well.
That's a ridiculously amount of free tickets, Ben.
You can get a ton of free tickets. All you got to do is just buy the one and then go through and do the rest of that. And you get a much better shot at winning one of those jerseys.
I'd do it right now, but I am barred from participating,
yes,
which is a bummer. But
that's right.
Somebody's going to get a sweet deal.
We can buy a ticket for somebody else.
Ooh, I might do that.
Maybe we'll do that.
Okay, I could do that.
All right. Anyway, thank you very much to all of you that have donated and purchased raffle tickets for that. It's for a great cause. The kids are super excited. It's looking like they'll be able to have a club season and potentially a high school sports season here in Oregon. And I know they're looking forward to it, and they're looking forward to all the help they'd be able to get to travel to competitions or get uniforms or whatever the case may be. Anyway,
let's get into it.
Let's get into some NFL news, Alex. How about that?
Sounds good to me. I got a little bit for you.
Okay.
And now it's time for your NFL news.
All right. So mainly just a lot of injury updates here for news and notes. We've got Mike Williams, who suffered a shoulder injury the other day, and they came out and said that his week 1 availability might be in question right now. But Coach Anthony Lynn said that he's going to be out for a little bit. So
man,
they want to make sure that he's good to go for later in the season. But beginning of the season in question right now. So it must be pretty significant injury.
That's what it sounds like.
It's not a good deal.
Nope. We'll see who steps up there. I know a lot of people are adding, what's his name? Jalen Guyton?
Never even heard of the guy, but we'll see what happens.
In a lot of leagues, we'll see. I don't know, but Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry stock
is going up a little bit. Up a bit. Another Williams, Tyrell Williams, was diagnosed with a torn labrum, and he's played with this before, and he actually plans to play through it this year. So that's man, the guy can't catch a break.
Poor Tyrell.
So
poor Tyrell. I kind of like Tyrell for this year, but knowing that news now, man.
Might be holding off on him, huh?
Yep.
Let's see. A piece of news that's not injury related. Earl Thomas was released by the Baltimore Ravens after a scuffle, and it sounds like there's a lot more to it that we don't fully know, but sounds like Earl may have shown up to some meetings late and just kind of, it sounds like in coverages too, he was starting to go rogue and not be kind of part of the team and part of the group effort. So the Ravens let him go, and it sounds like the team leadership, like the team captains, were for letting him go as well, which is that says something. That's right there.
That's a bad sign for sure.
That's not a good deal. A piece of good injury news: Sony Michel off the PUP list.
Ooh,
Going to be practicing in the next day or two.
Okay, there's been a lot of Damian Harris hype recently in camp, so is this just murky the waters even more?
Oh, man. Yeah, and then along with Lamar Miller there too.
Who is still on the PUP.
Yeah, he's supposed to be coming off here sometime soon, so yeah, it's New England
good
running backs.
Good for Sony. Not necessarily good for fantasy owners that want a piece of the New England backfield for whatever. If you want a piece of the New England backfield,
that'll be a headache every week for you. And then David Montgomery, we just saw today.
Oh, Monty,
Did you see the video of it?
I missed the video.
So
I didn't see that.
He was making a cut, and his feet just slip out from underneath him, but was diagnosed with a groin strain, and it looked like when he was trying to get up, he could barely stand. So
yeah, it got carted off. When the alerts first came through, it sounded way more significant.
So, groin strain, we'll see how long that's going to keep him on the sidelines. But
if it's bad enough, those can just keep nagging at you for quite some time.
And I don't know if he's completely out of the woods yet, but they're going to diagnose the degree of the strain, and they'll see. I'm sure Coach Nagy will give an update on him as soon as he finds out.
For sure.
And the last bit of news, it's not injury news, but all I've got here is Le'Veon and the Dementor at it again.
Oh, man. Adam Gase, the fantasy Dementor himself.
Yes, the Dementor.
Is absolutely going to ruin Le'Veon Bell's bounce-back year.
So apparently the Jets were having a scrimmage today, and Adam Gase pulled Le'Veon Bell from it and cited that his hamstrings were tight, and that's why he pulled him. Le'Veon Bell later in the day tweeted a reaction to Adam Gase's statements and says, "My hamstrings are fine. Let me run,"
Yep. He was all about wanting the workload in practice. I practice for the game. I want to be ready to go for the game so I can dominate the game. Not necessarily his words, but that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, we're paraphrasing a little, but yeah.
Again, man.
The Dementor strikes again.
Adam Gase, the fantasy Dementor. Just the worst.
He is the worst.
The absolute
So,
worst.
Man, that right there kind of gives me pause with Le'Veon too. Just we already see they're beating heads again. This is not good. I don't like that.
It just makes me so sad.
Ugh.
It just makes me so sad. Now you're getting all this hype for Chris Herndon now that Adam Gase is talking Herndon up like crazy. And
yep.
I don't know. I mean, Adam Gase just ruins fantasy value.
Yeah.
Completely.
And then they signed Chris Hogan the other day, and apparently Hogan's already with the first team offense. Like, what is going on?
He's out there working with the ones. So for Jets, Stay away. Stay away from the Jets until Adam Gase is gone.
And you Jets fans,
Adam Gase will be gone.
You Jets fans, just
eventually
hold strong, man. Keep the faith.
Hey, we feel sorry for you. The Dolphins, Miami fans, they know exactly what you're going through.
Oh gosh.
And luckily in Denver, it was Peyton Manning that was pretty much running the show. So
yeah. Let's be real.
As the quarterback, Adam Gase, go send Peyton Manning many thank you notes every day.
I'm sure he's on his Christmas card list every year.
Oh, definitely.
That's all I got for news and notes today.
Hey, I love it. I don't love the injuries, but I love the news. So thank you for that, Alex. We're going to take a quick little break here, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Or should we say porridge?
Hey, Alex.
What?
So when you're on a boat and you're on like a rocky ocean, and you're drifting out to sea, what's the best way to keep your boat like sturdy and just staying still?
Oars?
No, not even close. You throw out your anchor.
Oh, your anchor. Oh,
yep,
okay.
You throw out your anchor. You know what I like to do to keep my podcast steady and just sturdy while everything else seems to be rocky and wavy around me?
Not oars, right?
Not oars. It's Anchor again.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Anchor.fm. Let me explain. This app is free, completely free to host your podcast on.
Like 100% free?
100% free. And you get unlimited storage for all your episodes.
Unlimited?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
As Russell Wilson would say.
Yes.
That's right. It's also got creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
Well, I'm all about that.
I know. And it also distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on the likes of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them.
What's not to like?
It's great. You can even make money from your podcast, Alex.
And we're all about that.
And you don't need minimum listenership. So, that's a real good thing. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You need to download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I'm getting right on it right now.
Keep your boat and your podcast sturdy. All right. Like we were saying at the top of the episode, this is one of our favorite episodes. We're excited about this one. We love it. This is the Goldilocks episode.
Goldilocks.
That's right. The Goldilocks episode. I just want to tell y'all a little story. So gather around, children. Gather around. It's story time here at the Fantasy Chairmen. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived in the woods. 3 bears, Alex. They lived in the woods.
Oh, okay.
In a nice little cottage just set up at the top of this nice little hill. The sun shines over the top. Anyway, the bears went out for a walk one day or something along those lines. They weren't home.
They were out getting their steps in.
That's right. Just got their fancy new eye watches. Anyway, I digress. A little girl by the name of Goldilocks stumbles upon this cottage in the woods, Alex.
Oh.
And it's just wide open.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I don't know what this little girl's doing out in the woods on her own, by herself. Parents nowhere to be seen. She's just stumbling along and finds this cottage just wide open. There's nobody in there. She goes walking in. And as she walks by, she looks over and she sees 3 different chairs. There's one big one, one medium, and one small.
Oh, okay.
And then she sees the same for some beds. As she walks by a bedroom, there's a big bed, a medium bed, and a small bed.
Oh.
And then, for whatever reason, these bears must not have been going out for a very long walk because there were 3 bowls of porridge just sitting there on the table. Three just nice bowls of porridge, right?
Okay.
And so she goes up and she thinks, well, I've been wandering out in the woods. I'm either lost or out for a real long hike on my own, doing whatever. But I'm hungry. I'm going to eat this porridge that's just sitting there in this home that's not mine. And she goes and she tries the big bowl of porridge. Alex, and all of a sudden she just screams. She's and she burned her mouth, Alex. She burned her mouth. It was way too hot.
Oh.
Way too hot. It scalded the roof of her mouth. And now she's cooling it down. She goes and gets in the freezer.
Happens to me every time with
sucks
those
on an ice cube.
with the pizza bites.
Oh man.
Hot lava pours out of those things.
Absolutely. Or like a Hot Pocket maybe.
Man.
Yeah, you cook a Hot Pocket too long.
Bite a corner and let that thing get that heat out of there.
Let it air out.
Just a professional advice.
My goodness. So she goes to the medium bowl of porridge. And she goes to eat on that and just kind of gives this funny look and swallows it down. This is way too cold. Way too cold. It didn't scald the roof of her mouth. It actually felt kind of nice to get the cooling on the scalded roof of the mouth.
Yeah.
So, So it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't just the right temperature. So she goes to the small bowl of porridge and she takes a bite of that, and it was just right. Okay. Just right. Just the right amount of heat. It wasn't scalding. It wasn't too cold. You didn't have to let it air out at all. She just ate that whole little bowl of porridge down. Anyway, as the rest of the story goes, I think the bears come back and they end up eating her or something along those lines.
They pulverize her.
It gets messy. And I bet you're all wondering what in the world this has to do with fantasy football.
Yeah, what happened to the chairs in the bed?
Well, I'm not going to get into all that.
Okay.
She went and sat in them, and one was too hard, too soft, whatever.
One was just right.
And then same with the bed. Went, this bed too firm. And the other one, too squishy. And
the bears found her sleeping in a bed and just demolished her.
Yeah. They're like, you ate our porridge. We're going to eat you.
We're going to eat you now.
Anyway, back to fantasy football. There's a whole reason I told you this story. Because just like the porridge that Goldilocks found on the bears' table in their cottage, there are people that you are drafting right now whose average draft positions, they're way too hot.
Way too early. They're too hot.
They're way too hot. They're being taken too early. You're going to take these guys.
You're going to scald the roof of your mouth.
Exactly. They're being taken where they're going to disappoint you.
You got that hot porridge pizza pocket mouth. You don't want that.
100%. But then, Alex, there are those players that are being taken too cold. They're being taken way behind. These are the guys that you can get great value on. They're being taken way behind where they probably should be drafted. And these are the guys, you could take that cold bowl of porridge, you could go stick that in the microwave.
You could nuke it.
You can heat it up to just the right temperature. Just the right temperature. So you kind of want to take that too cold porridge. You want to draft that too cold player. But you don't want to do it too early.
Nope.
Right? So you want to microwave it to just right. It's like getting that Hot Pocket, # not a sponsor, to
pizza bites.
When you get it in there just long enough that you can take it out and eat it almost instantly. But it's still not frozen in the middle, but it's not lava.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then there's those players that are being drafted just right. They are just at that right position. These are guys that we think they're going to perform right to about where they're being drafted, with probably upside for better. So that's what we've got on tap for you guys today. The Goldilocks episode.
I like it.
Don't draft them too hot, but if
jump
they're
on
too cold.
Jump on those too cold.
If they're
values.
too cold. Don't draft too quick, but take them right when you need to. And then at just right, if they're sitting there and they're at that average draft position and it's showing up on your list, snag them.
No, you got the
snag them and feel good about it.
The just right value on them.
Exactly. That's right. And we are basing this off 12-team, half PPR scoring, and we are going off of our favorite fantasy football platform, Sleeper. We are using their ADP for half PPR scoring. And that's what all of this is going to be based off. And we are going to start with our two hot players, Alex. You ready for yours?
I'm ready for mine.
All right, man. Let's hear it. Who, for you...
Oh, you want me to go first?
...is too hot porridge?
Okay. Too hot porridge, huh? Hot porridge. Okay, well,
which of these porridges is too hot for you?
So my too hot a porridge is going to be this player's ADP. Too hot for me right now. People taking way too far ahead, in my opinion. It's going to be James Conner.
Whoa, James
Pittsburgh
Conner?
Steelers running back, James Conner. Right now, his average draft position is 23.5. He's running back 15 currently.
Ooh, okay.
And he's going about the late second, early third round right now. So, just a couple of things. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, his last 2 years have been very injury riddled. In 2018, he played in 13 games, and then in 2019, he only played in 10 games. But some of those games, let me tell you what, and it seems like it's happened quite frequently, some of those games, he burned you hard. Like, he was literally in for like 2 series, and then he was out the entire rest of the game.
I will say there were definitely some games where I was happy to not have James Conner on my team,
my goodness,
so that I didn't have to try and make that start-sit decision.
Now, James Conner is actually a cancer survivor as well, and there's been speculation that maybe his body has been breaking down these last couple years due to the fact that he did go through cancer and went through the treatment to defeat cancer, which, kudos to you, James. That's an amazing achievement. And that it may be the case, it may not be the case, but I would say that he has now garnished the injury plagued player. So you're kind of playing with fire a little bit.
Does it give you any pause as well because of this year, specifically because of COVID-19? Whereas, like, if he, like, a cancer survivor like him, if he were to contract it, that he may just shut it down. I don't know what
he could be a little
like mega negative effects.
It could be. I mean,
it would have on
a person
like
of him.
That,
a person that has gone through cancer, they're a little bit more immunocompromised than just the average person that hasn't gone through it. So I will say that I didn't get that far into it. Another big point for me was there's just a platoon of running backs lined up behind him that are just waiting to take over the job. You got Benny Snell, who just got drafted last year. You got Anthony McFarland that got drafted this year. And then you still have Jalen Samuel there too as well, who has been one of the lead backs in the rotation before. I've also heard rumors out there that Mike Tomlin is actually starting to like Benny Snell a little bit more. Like, he is now the de facto number 2 running back. And a lot of the beat reporters are saying that Snell kind of has the body type that he likes his lead running backs to have, and that they would not be surprised if Snell starts to take, a little bit more of the workload off of Conner as well. So another thing that kind of scares me. And then my final point is at that late second, early third round, James Conner's going ahead of guys, the likes of Chris Carson, Le'Veon Bell, and Leonard Fournette. And man, I mean,
that's what I was going to dig into there.
Yep, I like Carson and Fournette better personally than James Conner. And I get, the lead running back in Pittsburgh can put up an immense amount of points because Mike Tomlin, when he has his guy, he sticks with that guy.
If it were me, I would still almost even take the likes of like Todd Gurley and David Johnson over James Conner. James Conner's
scary
injury history just scares the
all three of those
crap out
people.
of me.
All three of those people have injury concerns. So I guess it's pick your poison kind of deal. But James Conner, man, especially the games, he just goes out like literally after the second series, and then you're stuck with 1 point.
Yeah.
Or 2 points. It's terrible.
That's just a weak killer right there for sure.
So that's my too hot player right there. James Conner getting drafted too early.
You draft James Conner there, you're scalding the roof of your mouth.
You just took a pizza bite right out of the oven and threw it in your mouth and just chomped right into it, and you just scalded everything in there.
Don't do
molten
that,
lava.
Don't do that, people. My goodness. All right. Well, my big bite of fresh out of the microwave Hot Pocket here is...
We've gone from porridge to Hot Pockets.
Absolutely. We're just all about food today. It's fine. Anyway, my too hot player being drafted at his current ADP is Philadelphia Eagles running back Miles Sanders.
Ooh, okay.
Miles Sanders right now currently being drafted as running back 10, being taken as the 11th overall pick. So he's going in the first round of 12-team leagues. And, man, Miles Sanders, the hype to me right now is just getting a little bit too out of control.
But, man, haven't you heard?
Oh, heard what?
Haven't you heard?
What's that?
Doug Peterson's named him. He's the guy this year, though. He's the guy.
Doug Peterson.
There's nobody else.
Has never had a workhorse back in any offense he's ever had control of. And I know people are talking about, well, he's never had the guy like Miles Sanders before either. But I can't put much stock into that when you're looking at the other people being drafted around him. You know, he's being taken ahead of like Nick Chubb, Kenyon Drake, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, all of which I would personally take before Miles Sanders. But if we look at Miles Sanders too, I mean, he got off to a slow start last year. He really didn't like come into play until it was about when Jordan Howard got hurt last year, about week 11.
Sounds like a good chunk of that time too, when he was kind of middling in snap percentages. He was dealing with an ankle injury.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. And then Jordan Howard did not play from week 11 onward. And after that, it kind of became the Miles Sanders show. I mean, he was getting 85% of snaps, but he was still sitting in his first like 2 that Jordan Howard was out. He was still only sitting at 11, 12 carries a game. And then he kind of went upward from there as they went down. Where he thrived really was in the passing game, where he was seeing about 5 to 6 receptions per game. But guess who else was seeing about 6 to even 7 receptions per game?
Boston Scott.
Yeah. Exactly. And you want to know why?
Why?
Because there was absolutely no receivers for the Philadelphia Eagles last year.
They had Greg Ward.
They had Greg Ward, all right. Boston Scott was actually very impressive last year as well. So this whole theory of Miles Sanders going to be the workhorse back with the Eagles, I just don't buy into. I like Miles Sanders. I just do not like his current ADP being taken at the end of the first round. Now, if he falls and you can get him later in the second, somewhere around there, I like that a little bit more. But there's
a point when these two hot players turn into just right for the value.
Yeah,
so.
Where you let it cool down long enough.
You let it cool down.
You let that porridge cool down long enough, it's going to be just right, and you're going to be happy eating it.
You bit the corner off the pizza pocket, you let it cool off a little bit.
Exactly how it works. So I'm going to take Miles Sanders if he cools down a little bit. If I can get him towards the back of the second round, I'm going to be good there. But at the end of the first, I'm going to take the likes of Devontae Adams over him. I'm probably taking Julio Jones over him. I'm taking Nick Chubb over him, Austin Eckler, all those guys. So Miles Sanders, I'm sorry. You're just too hot. Your ADP is just
scalding
my mouth right now. And I'm going to stay away until you cool off a little bit and you become just right. Too cold now, huh?
Time to go too hot and then too cold.
All right, we're moving on to just like Goldilocks. We're trying the next bowl of porridge.
I'm sitting down in front of the next plate of pizza.
But now we've got a microwave available.
Yeah. All right, so my too cold player is going to be DJ Chark, wide receiver for Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, the Squatch and I just talked about him.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I debated him over Terry McLaurin.
Oh. Listen to that episode if you haven't yet, by the way.
Right. Anyway,
so DJ Chark.
Alex's take here.
DJ Chark, average draft position right now, ADP of 52.3. He's currently wide receiver 21 going off the fantasy draft boards, and he's been taken in the mid-5th right now. So a couple of things. He's got from what we saw last year, he's got probably the best report on the Jaguars team with Gardner Minshew currently, and I don't think there's anybody there that's going to be challenging Chark for number 1 wide receiver duties on the Jaguars. I mean, they drafted Laviska Shenault. I think he's going to be kind of more of a gadget player in the beginning, and once he kind of learns, gets used to the speed of the NFL, he'll be, they'll incorporate him into the wide receiver group as well.
I'm with you on this, DJ Chark. Unquestioned number 1 there in Jacksonville.
Outside of that, D.D. Westbrook, Chris Conley.
None of those scare me.
Yeah.
None of those scare me.
Keelan Cole? No. Come on, guys. Come on.
Is he even still there?
I think he's still there.
I think he is too.
But, there's not a single person that's going to be challenging DJ Chark for number 1 targets on the team. In addition to that, Jay Gruden got hired as the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars this year. And let me tell you something. I think him being the offensive coordinator is going to pay off for the Jaguars. You might not see it in the very beginning here, but I think mid to late season, you're going to see that Jay Gruden offense kind of hit its stride. And
Jay Gruden's had some pretty impressive offenses before. People seem to forget when he was the head coach of the Washington, formerly Redskins.
The Washington football team now.
Exactly. But back then, and it just, I mean, he just did not have talent for the team there.
No,
things struggle. And then I think he maybe got in over his head as a head coach a little bit, but his offenses before have performed very, very well.
When Robert Griffin III was on the team, he was a top 10 quarterback. Kirk Cousins, while he was Gruden's quarterback, he was a top 10 quarterback from 2015, 2016, and 2017. 3 years of being a top 10 quarterback. So I think that bodes well for Minshew, which if it bodes well for Minshew, it's going to bode well for DJ Chark as well.
Let's not talk too much about Minshew here. Huh?
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
I'm going to say your too cold player leads very well into mine.
Well, I'll just say this. We didn't talk about what players we had.
We didn't plan this out.
And then my last point is the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, though it was just a mighty force to be reckoned with years before, this year, man, it looks rough. It looks bad. And I think that the Jaguars are going to be getting scored on. And what's that lead to? Catch-up mode, which, not mustard, catch-up mode. It's going to be
catch-up.
You're going to be spreading it on, and you're going to have to be throwing a lot to make up the difference. And I think DJ Chark is going to be getting peppered with targets this year and currently going as wide receiver 21 in the mid-fifth round. Man, I wouldn't mind taking DJ Chark in the early fourth. Heck, maybe even with guys around the third. I mean, like with Amari, you could potentially say Amari Cooper. He could challenge Amari Cooper.
Yep.
So
no, for real.
I like DJ Chark this year. He's too cold.
I absolutely do. I think DJ Chark finishes within the top 15 wide receivers this year. That's about where I see him ending the season. So I'm with you for sure. If you can get just a little bit of jump on your competition and draft DJ Chark just a little bit ahead of where you think somebody else might take him. He's too cold right now.
Too cold.
You can get him and get that screaming value. You take him
and
up.
Once people catch on.
Right up at the end of the fourth, and then you throw him in the microwave.
Once people catch on, man, he's going to heat up.
Comes out just right. Just right. Well, that I'm just going to go ahead and piggyback right off of you here, Alex, because you did most of my work for me on this next one, and my too cold player is none other than quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Gardner Minshew.
Not the Minshew.
Not the Minshew. No way. He's like Gardner Snake.
It's Gardner Snake.
That's right. And all I'm going to say, because Alex made most of my points right there for me.
You're welcome.
You know, with the horrendous defense and likely going to be down in games a lot of the time, there is nobody challenging Gardner Minshew for the job this year.
Nope.
And remember, this is redraft, because I do think the Jaguars are going to finish pretty low on the totem pole when it comes to the NFL standings at the end of the season, and they're probably going to take a player like Trevor Lawrence or another quarterback to probably end up taking over this team. Mm-hmm. But this year, I see Gardner Minshew in a almost Jameis Winston-like situation where the defense really isn't going to be all that great. He's going to have to be pretty much throwing for his life to make up points, because I think they're going to be down early. They're going to be down often. And then there's just nobody that's challenging him for the job. So he's just going to be out there slinging it. And he knows that he's got nothing to lose.
Yep, he's playing with house money right now.
Exactly, he absolutely is. He's got nothing to lose, so he's going to be a gunslinger this year. And also, if you haven't seen it on Twitter yet, Gardner Minshew he's motivated to be your number one pick in fantasy this year. He's partnered with Bud Light. If you draft him first in fantasy leagues, which I absolutely do not recommend.
Way too hot.
But he's partnered with Bud Light for some sort of like case of beer giveaway or whatever if you prove that you took him first in your draft. Don't take him first in your draft, but I think he is far too cold. He's being drafted as the quarterback 24 right now, 173rd overall. He's being taken in the 14th round. And I think that's an absolute steal, especially if you're playing that wait on QB strategy that we preach all the time. Hello, dogs.
Oh, hello.
If you play that wait on quarterback strategy that we preach all the time, and you can get Gardner Minshew down towards the end of your drafts, I think you're going to get a steal there. And I could see Gardner Minshew finishing up within quarterback 10 to quarterback 14, 15 range.
I like
in
it.
There. So if you're getting him at quarterback 24 prices, Gardner Minshew, he is too cold right now. We can put him in the microwave and get him just right.
Heat him up.
We're on to our just right players now, Alex.
Just right.
We're sitting down at the small bowl of porridge. We're taking a bite. And you know what? It's just right. It's just right. I'm going to eat this whole thing in one sitting.
You wait a couple minutes after that pizza pocket just cooled off.
That's right. And now it's perfect temperature.
Perfect.
And
you can just dive in. Well, my just right player is Zach Ertz, tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Current ADP of 52. He's tight end 4 going off the board, and he's currently going around the early 5th round. So, yeah, not too bad. A couple of points here for Zach Ertz. He is the trusted target of quarterback Carson Wentz for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And has been, man, it's been a number of years now.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember how many years he's been in the league, but it's been a little while now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another reason, Zach Ertz has been top 5 tight end since 2017. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Since 2017, he's been a top 5 tight end.
He was number 6 in 2016.
Yep. So he just missed it. Just missed it. And I did notice that too, yeah.
There you go.
Another reason that I think Zach Ertz is being currently taken at just the right price is both Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are both questionable for the start of the season. And it kind of sounds like Alshon might even start the year on the PUP, which he'll have to miss the first 6 games?
6, yep.
6 games. So those are 2 targets that Carson Wentz has been thrown to and he has a little bit of trust with. And I mean, the more targets that you take off the field that Carson trusts, he's going to kind of hone in towards those ones that he really trusts. It's Zach Ertz. It's going to be Dallas Goedert. It's going to be, Jalen Reagor just got there. There's a lot of hype up on him, but I don't know if right off the bat, if he's just, going to immediately command the respect.
There's been some good talk about John Hightower coming out of Eagles camp as well. That he's been progressing very well. He's another rookie wide receiver that they took this year. Mm-hmm. They say that he is a Deshaun Jackson-like player who can take the top off. I think Deshaun Jackson's going to be okay to start the season, but we'll see. But anyway, you're absolutely right with Zach Ertz being the favorite target of Carson Wentz, especially when all those other weapons seemingly get injured every single year.
And if Alshon and Deshaun can't make it back quickly from their injury, and then Deshaun, was that more of an injury or was that the comments that he made?
Yeah, he had his anti-Semitic comments or whatever that he made. I think he's amended that. He went and he apologized. He did a whole bunch of different things to try and make up for that. And I have not heard any reports.
Couldn't remember if it was an injury or not. So
yeah, I haven't heard any reports from Philly that have said that there's any more bad blood there. So I think he's going to be okay to start the season. He'll probably get his playing time.
Well, regardless, if both those guys can't make it back quickly enough, I think Zach Ertz could potentially, from volume alone, he could potentially push up into the top 3 and maybe even push for the top tight end on the season.
Zach Ertz is significantly underrated this year.
Yeah,
for sure. A lot of people are just kind of writing him off just because of the emergence of Dallas Goedert, because of the emergence of Mark Andrews with Baltimore. And, there's all this hype on all these other tight ends that have gone to new places or have stepped up into the starting role and that sort of thing, that Zach Ertz just kind of seems to be the forgotten man.
I know a lot of people, a lot of podcasts will say, if you miss out on Kelsey and Kittle and even Andrews a little bit, that you should just, wait and punt the tight end position. But for my just right player, Zach Ertz, I think early 5th ADP of 52. That's not I think that's right about right for his potential, what he could give you in return this season. So
sit down, take a bite of that porridge, and you're just gonna.
I think you're gonna
be content.
I think you're gonna like it.
With it. Okay.
You're gonna like the production of that.
Very nice, Zach Ertz. I like Zach Ertz a lot. He's a good man. That Zach Ertz.
He is a good man,
and he's a great tight end. That's for sure. Okay.
Well, who's your just right player, Ben?
Oh, my just right. I'm sitting down in this little small chair over here. Got the small bowl of porridge right in front of me. I'm taking a bite. Just right. This is wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, Tyler Lockett.
Ooh.
Tyler Lockett. I like me some Tyler Lockett. Always have. We all know Tyler Lockett has some game-breaking abilities that he can just win you a week.
Most definitely.
Just whenever, can just go off for like 30 points and get you the dubs. But anyway, Tyler Lockett being drafted at the wide receiver 20 position right now, 51 overall, kind of in that early fifth to late fourth round range, right in there. And I like Tyler Lockett at this spot this year mostly because of the emergence of DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is actually being drafted really similarly in a similar range to Tyler Lockett. We kind of saw an emergence of Metcalf more so when Lockett was injured last year, but Metcalf was actually also surprisingly pretty steady throughout the season. I think there's more of a rapport that's been built between Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf, and I think that is going to draw some targets away from Lockett from what Lockett typically sees. I think Lockett is still probably going to be Russell's number one option. I don't buy into the fact that they're going to finally open Russell Wilson up to see his full potential, because we hear that year in and year out.
Just let him cook.
And it never happens.
Let Russ cook.
That's what I want to see so bad. But
I know this year, man,
he's never happens.
He's been Russell Wilson has been more vocal about it than he ever has before in the past.
He wants to throw. Well, he's got weapons between Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf now. We can't forget about Chris Carson. I think as long as that hip is okay, they're gonna continue to pound the rock. They didn't do much to improve the O-line, which again, year in and year out, that's what we see. Mm-hmm. So I think we're still gonna see similar production from the Seahawks in terms of passing, things like that. But
I hope you're wrong. I hope they let him cook.
Hey, listen, that's part of why I think this ADP for Lockett is just right, though, because I think he's going to be very I think he's going to be a lock almost to finish as wide receiver 20 or better. I mean, even with the similar production that you see from the Seahawks, he's finished as wide receiver 13 last year, wide receiver 16, or right between wide receiver 16 and 12, somewhere in there the year before. And, that was without DK Metcalf there. So I think with DK, pulls a little bit away from Lockett, but it's not going to pull enough away that Lockett's going to disappoint you at this average draft position. So if you can take him here at wide receiver 20, knowing what his upside is, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'll take Tyler Lockett in the 5th round all day, every day. Ooh. There's a couple of people that are being drafted ahead of him that I would take Lockett before I would take them. And then there's a couple of people that are being drafted after him that I would take before Lockett. The likes of DJ Chark comes to mind. I would probably take Chark.
I was just about to ask you, who are you taking, Lockett or Chark?
I would take Chark over Lockett this year, but I would take Lockett over Metcalf, which Metcalf's average draft position right now is ahead of Lockett's. I would take Lockett before I took Metcalf, but I would still keep them pretty close. So if you could swap, if you look at the average draft positions of these guys, if you could swap Chark and Metcalf, I would be okay with that. Terry McLaurin's very, very close for me. I can't decide whether, if it came down to Lockett and McLaurin in the draft, I would have a very difficult time deciding between those two.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lockett being drafted just right. We know what his potential is. He can get up there into the wide receiver 1 range, and you're not going to have to reach for him to get him, but you can just let him drop right to you in the 5th. take him there as your wide receiver 2, your wide receiver 3, depending on how your draft goes before that, and be happy with the production you get from him because he's almost a lock to finish as a wide receiver 2, if not more.
Just right.
Just right. Oh, yeah. I think we made it out of the cottage without being devoured, Alex.
We're out.
I think we got in.
We
were able to try all the porridges, and it was good. We probably just stayed away from the Bears' beds and their chairs.
Or just let them be.
That's what Goldilocks got in trouble for.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead and take off from the cottage now before we get just eaten.
We don't want to be devoured
by the bears. But that is the Goldilocks episode. Is there any like honorable mentions that you want to throw out, Alex, for any of these too hot, too cold, just right players? I know one of mine, and we both kind of talked about it as a just right player, was Odell Beckham Jr. Kind of being drafted towards that middle fourth round range in there. Just with what he's able to give you, what his talent ability is. If you can get him towards the middle end of the 4th, pull the trigger on that, draft him.
Another too hot player for me, honorable mention, was T.Y. Hilton for me. Just kind of the same vein of James Conner. I mean, just injury history, and there's, he's going around guys. He's talked about before.
He's right by Tyler Lockett.
He's right by Lockett. He's right by McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Sutton, Hollywood Brown.
I would take all those guys. That's another guy I would take ahead of Lockett is Keenan Allen. But
lots of people there that I would consider before T.Y. Hilton that he's currently going in front of. And then one more, just a honorable mention for too cold is Cam Newton. I think the guy has been a top 10 quarterback before in the past. If he is healthy and he is very determined this year, I think Bill Belichick is going to try and squeeze as much juice out of that as he can. Yep. And
he's in a system to do it.
I think if Cam stays healthy, he has all the potential to be a top 10 quarterback this year. And he's going way back, like quarterbacks like in the late teens, I think.
Yeah, he is Cam Newton right now is like quarterback 16, 17.
Yeah.
Right in that range.
So,
yep.
Honorable mention.
Well, I like that. I like that a lot. That's good stuff. Goldilocks. Get your porridges just right.
Or Pig's Pockets.
Or Hot Pockets.
Or Hot Pockets.
You get them just right. Or too cold and you can heat them up. That'll do it for us today, Alex.
It was a fun one.
You can find us on the social media at Chairman Fantasy, at Find FF Leagues, and at Fantasy Sasquatch.
We're on Apple Podcasts now, people.
That's right. We got 12 5-star ratings. Thank you all so much.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
We want more. Send us some reviews, and we'll read a few of them live on the show. We'll see you later.
See ya.